So Les, I'm going to have you kind of like sit here.
Nice.
I know. I'm here for you. I'm a hostess. All right. Okay. So
Am I good?
you're doing this. All right. So if you're looking at this, so if you look at the thing, then I've already filled these things out for you. Look, I've created your own one, Les. I'm working on this one for you. Okay. So because again, the flip chart, like the whiteboard, is behind the screen. So I'm just going to do this fairly live. Okay, so we're looking for an urgent, important question your audience is actively and knowingly asking. Now, one of the things that can be helpful is if you already know what your answer is, and thankfully I talked to Les and you said intentional leader or intentional leadership, right?
Yes.
You can kind of like stick that in there for now. Because what you're trying to test, and you can see how these things come together, is you're going to say, if you want this, then this is your answer. And sometimes the way you figure out the question is that one that feels strongest for you, right?
Yes.
So have you been, just some thoughts about this, Les? What would you say? And again, I'm just going to show you the process that I would do with my client. This is going to be fun. All right. Does anyone, I'm dating myself again, but do you remember once upon a time they had these around the neck things that you would use for a handheld? I'm thinking I need to bring those back. Yeah, okay. Teachers. You're amazing. Thank you. What's your name?
Pamela.
Pamela, thank you. Okay, so tell me, what are some of these questions that like you feel that your clients are asking all the time before they know that you're the answer?
Yeah. So they're asking things like, how do I get home for dinner more often?
Okay.
How do I build a leadership team when I can't even delegate past one person? How do I maintain enough profit to actually take a vacation and actually be on vacation so that my kids actually remember me as they grow up, being the dad or the mom that was actually there instead of the dad or mom who was spending all their time on the computer, on the phone,
Okay.
dealing with fires.
All right. So I want you to listen to this because I want to show you all that you know more than you think you do. May I touch you? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I should have asked. It's always good to ask. I'm sorry. I'm a toucher. Okay. I want you to see, like, do you all hear a theme in what he's talking about? Right? So you gave beautiful, specific things. I've got an idea. There's not a right answer here. But I want to see, based on what you heard him say, how would you kind of like roll up those questions into one? Just practice. Yes, Rhett.
How do I be professionally successful and have a fulfilling personal life?
Yeah, definitely one way. Yeah, where my brain went was like, how can I be as successful personally as I am professionally? Might be one way to put it. Or how can I balance my professional and personal priorities? Because I was hearing this tension.
Yeah.
So do you hear that? His people are aware of that tension. He's not having to convince them of that. They're already starting there.
Correct.
Accurate? Okay. Did you have an idea?
You said it. How can I balance personal and professional?
Yeah.
Different approach. How can I let go of more?
Yeah, absolutely. So each of you, right? So A, you can help each other. B, each of you has your own interpretation of the questions you hear from your audience. And guess what? Your interpretation speaks to what's actually most important to you. So of all the various versions you heard, Les, what was the one that spoke most to you?
Probably the balance thing, because that's such a common thing. We talk about work-life balance, which is one of the greatest lies to come out of 1970s management culture. But that is that common point that they talk about. For instance, when I talk about the get home for dinner more than twice a week, that's my own creation because it actually says work-life balance
Without using that term.
Without using
Yeah.
that.
So the work of this is to say, now Les, you may never actually say this from the stage. I like to try to write it in such a way that you would. But what I want to point out is when you write about this, when you speak about it, you can actually give voice to all those questions, but then you're going to sum them up as this. You can fire off a whole bunch, right? And then basically say, any version of that question that you all just put it, I'm just going to sum it up like this. Does that work for you? Like, that's how basically you would do it.
I like that.
Do you want to get home for dinner? Ultimately, what does this come down to? It comes down to we are struggling with this question of how do I balance my personal and professional priorities? Does that sound good?
I really like that.
Okay.
I really like
and you
that.
say, and then again, a quick way to test it, we're not done yet, is to say we put them together. To balance your personal and professional priorities, become an intentional leader. I thought I saw a spelling mistake. Is there? Like the word doesn't. Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you see
Yes.
how that sounds? And he's like, and then you say, I help leaders balance their personal and professional priorities by teaching them what it takes to become an intentional leader. Boom. That's your claim. And we're not even done yet. I'm so excited. Okay. All right. But do you see how that works, right? So this person already knows the balance of personal and professional priorities. If we wanted to go one step further, so that would be someone who's saying something like, how can I be more purposeful in my leadership? Or how can I be more intentional about that, right? Like, then if they were a little bit further, then some of this would start to creep into the language.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you probably have some people who are just saying, how can I be a better leader? That would be that far right question. How can I be a better leader? And then you've got this group who less wants to serve, which is saying, how can I balance the personal and professional thing so I can be both a better leader and a better father / partner / whatever? Yeah?
Yes.
Golfer. I don't know. Right. And then this last one is, what are specific strategies or something like that would allow me to do this, right? They're starting to get more specific. Now, we're speeding through this, but what I want to highlight here is that is your core promise, the core outcome that you're saying you can deliver. So, like, the minimum viable positioning statement for him is not even the claim, it's that I help leaders balance their personal and professional priorities, period. Now, I think it's stronger when you can say, I help leaders become intentional leaders so that they can do X, Y, and Z. Because now you're like, oh, you have a solution, you named it, you didn't dance around and be like, buy my book and you'll find out, right? You actually told them what it is, and they can start to intuit what that might mean. Now, again, it's just the beginning of a claim, but we're going to go from here. Everybody with me so far? Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. So the next thing, and I'm just going to go from here. Now, the tendency is to want to jump here. We're going to go and test this. I'm not going to change your idea. I'm hoping we might make it even stronger. Okay. But when you have an answer like this is one of the reasons why when I was chatting with potential folks, I wanted to go with Les. When you have an established program with a name, oftentimes the hint for the core, like what's going to support this, is in it.
Yes.
Do you see one of these things? Yes, intention. Yeah, you got it. All right. So let me back out of this and show you the other piece for a minute. Because once we've got this, how you doing? You doing okay, Les?
I'm awesome.
All right, good.
I might actually even be great.
That's good. Okay. So now we've got a reason why they would even consider stepping in a new direction, right? Because we've got a question they're willing to ask, right? And a great test of this is once they know that you have a potential answer for it, how hard would it be for them to unwant it? Right? How hard would it be for them to unwant it? We want this. Yeah.
So
You can't, yeah.
So is that so? In some ways, I guess maybe I'm agitating the problem by the words that I use. I'm
We're just
agitating.
pinpointing it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I pinpoint it, but then I'm intentionally doing things to draw more awareness. I'm intentionally doing things to highlight how big of a problem is it, which is also to gauge how big, is it just a cliche? Or is it actually something that they do want to actually work on and make change
Yeah,
with?
so one of the first things we're going to do is we are going to, so one of the things that one of the principles in the new book is that identity is the greatest influencer. People's own self-concept and the self-concept they want you to have is one of the biggest drivers of how people behave always. And you might say, how can I possibly figure that out for all the different people in my life? And the answer is there is one thing that you can count on that everybody wants. I have yet to find anything that says this is not true. And the one thing that everybody wants, and you can rely on this till the cows come home. What does that even mean?
I know.
It's the end of the day.
It's the end. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Later. Over not tails or something like. I know it's mocktails. I went to a great place last night that not tails. Yeah, it's fine. Placebos, I heard them called the other day too, which I thought was great. Fabulous. Oh my gosh, then I lost my thing. Right, it's the one thing. Everyone's like, don't leave us hanging. My God, woman. Okay, this is what it is. See if you agree. That everybody wants to be seen as smart, capable, and good.
Yes.
They want to be seen as smart, capable, and good. And I can tell you right now, if you just do that test on everything that you put out and everything that you say from the stage right now, and ask yourself, is this delivering on that desire for my audience? It will immediately strengthen your talk. Because a great example, bless you, of like, have you ever tried to like say no to something online and then the button to get it to go away is, no thanks, I like spending money.
Oh, I hate that.
I do too, why?
You're like, oh, you like being fat and ugly. Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Reactance, and you're like, well, now I really do, yes. Yes, I want to have the trip canceled and not have it covered by insurance. Okay, so, but the smart, capable, good thing is that this is a key here. Once we've named the question, we need to give our audience credit that they actually want the answer to that question. Because if we start to question their desire, well, they're going to start to question their desire. We need to start with the presumption that these people already are smart, capable, and good. And you're basically saying, whoever you are in the audience, if this is legitimately a question you have or you really want to balance your personal and professional priorities, then I'm here for you. And what you're doing when you're speaking to that, and this is something I talk a little bit in, did we work on a storyboard for your talk? I don't think so. Is it, there is a way to kind of build on that without activating their anxiety to say, essentially, it's a really good question that you're asking because you already know the consequences of not having a good answer. And you are a smart, capable, good person. You know this is a hard question to answer because the demands of modern life are really hard. This is like a constant tension. And you're a smart, capable, good person. You have tried to answer this for yourself. And maybe sometimes some things work, but they don't work the way you want them to, or they don't work for long. And maybe nothing has worked at all. Well, I think I know why. You have not told them anything bad about themselves. You've said, it's good that you're asking this question. So yeah, you can describe their world so that you can build that credential and that credibility by saying, I know exactly what you're talking about. And then you basically said, but none of it's worked so far, right? And you're basically saying, I've got an idea. Now, this is where we go next, because they've been focusing on something else, but not, let's start with intention, right? So what are they doing? These are smart, capable, good people. They're trying to answer this question. Where do they think the answer is? Where are they looking? What do they do to answer this question or try to solve it? How do they try to get that balance?
Sleep less.
Okay. All right.
I mean, that's a very real. It's sleep less.
Okay.
I hear that answer weekly, all the time.
Okay. So this
Sleep
brings
less.
up an interesting mental image for me, because now we've got work, life, and self is this unacknowledged third thing. And you're basically saying you are taking yourself out of the equation. And how is that possible? It's you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So actually what we just accidentally did was solve for the other component, but we'll come back to that.
I'm just gonna be really happy at the end of this if we made a pun on Les's name. That'd be like.
Challenge
Hey,
accepted.
it's-
I
Okay.
knew you were up to it.
It's, hey, I won an election with it. If you want more, vote less.
Okay. Oh, that's good. All right. Okay. So what we're looking for here, so this is where, remember I said that this is your point of view. Now I'm going to warn you, we are not as humans trained to think this way, but you have this in you. Because what this is that you know there's a reason why you decided to build your version of an answer to this.
Yes.
Because you looked at all the other stuff and are like, something's not right there. They're not looking at what I think is important, right?
And
Either-
I walk that journey as well.
Yeah. So you know as well. So you struggled with that question yourself. You tried a bunch of this stuff and you didn't find it.
Yes.
So what we're looking for with these core components are we are looking for overlooked or underappreciated elements that you consider vital, critical. You cannot answer that question without it. But you're taking off the things that people already know. So I do a lot of work with startups, and a lot of times they're like, innovative. And I'm like, oh my Lord. If it's not innovative, why are they buying it? I did a lot of work in my early years working for colleges and universities. And they're like, we are student-centered, diverse, and have a high-quality faculty.
Everybody says.
If you don't, what are you doing? Right? Like, no, I really want to go to a place that is really all about the professors. It's just about one kind of person, and our faculty is crap. Like, this is not a thing that you want to build your business on, right?
Right.
Because you have a distinctive point of view. So we are also going to give you credit to say, we are going to assume that your thing includes all the other stuff that they would expect to be there. Okay? So what I'm going to, even though we identified this self piece, I want to come back to that, because you heard this was variety was the focus for the iPod, and portability. What we're looking for here are one-word nouns. This is important. You're going to try to put adjectives here. You're going to try. You're super going to try, because you're like, it's good. Nope. You have to find the noun that produces that adjective. And if it's easy to use, it's not that. It's what about your approach makes it easy. Do you see? So sometimes you can start with the benefit, but you need to say, what is it about my thing that does that? So for instance, I have a client who said, well, it's easy to use. I'm like, okay, fine. Why? Said, because it's intuitive. Intuitiveness. Why is that important? Well, the easier something is to use, the more it will be used. Well, there you go. Now you've given an actual justification for what's present in the product for making it easy to use. You're not just going, it's easy, it works. You're telling them why it works, okay? All right, so we're gonna use, one of yours is gonna be intention, but when I did this let me put this in. I'm taking a couple things off. I told you about the second one already. No table stakes from the audience's perspective. Now the trick here, it's gonna feel like table stakes to you. You probably look at this and go, you can't do this without intention, but I know that already. That's table stakes. No. If you believe not enough people are thinking about their intent, right, by which you may actually mean, I don't know what you mean yet, we'll find that out. That's what we're talking about, right? So sometimes, do you see what I'm saying? Like, if it's like, it's simple, it works, it's not expensive, that's already required from their perspective. Okay, what you need to do is say, what are you looking at that you see out there, like people are just not paying attention to X. Okay, And we're going to take action and decision mindset out of there too. Quick explanation for that is, one, it's in the question. They're asking, what do I do? So you don't need to say, do something. That's in the question. And the second thing is, you don't need to do anything that says mindset or beliefs, because what you're outlining is the mindset. You're basically saying, adopt this mindset to get there. You're just not telling them, change your mind. You're just giving them a more attractive mindset to take on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So Vince asked him this question. I said, what is a way to successfully execute strategic shift? He believes to his core it's not psychological safety, it's accountability. It's not psychological safety. It's not valid, but he's like, listen, if people aren't accountable, you're never going to get there. We'll get to why in just a second. I'm like, great. If that's the only thing, is it solved? No. Why? What if it's one person?
Because if people's primary need is to feel, as you said, smart, capable, and good, accountability is a great way to have another person think you're smart, capable.
Absolutely. That's one. Yeah, absolutely. And when I said, okay, if we already had accountability taken care of, would we still be able to do this? He's like, no, not unless we had accountability at scale. Because if only one person's accountable, it's not going to do it. So this is one of the primary reasons why I believe that one word doesn't get you there. Because one word, you're not putting your own spin on it, right? But this basically says this is all about accountability. It's all about accountability at scale. And the good news is when you have that, just like we had a quick test on the strategy, on the claim, the best way to balance personal and professional thing is to become an intentional leader. By putting those two words together, you get this unexpectedly obvious combination. Here's what I mean. Let me show you, and then we're gonna do it portable variety. Okay, right? And you're always going to have two options. Scaled accountability, accountable scale. One of them will feel better to you. And you may never use this out loud, but it's a really good way to say, is that my strategy? Notice there's no and. It's not accountability and scale. You're resolving the tension by saying it's possible to do them together. See? You with me? Mm-hmm. You been thinking?
Yes.
Okay. You all thinking? Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to go back to last. All right. So we know that one of these, we're going to guess that one of them is intention. What do you mean by attention? Just explain this to me so I can just get it into my little brain stew.
So the concept of being intent or intentional is to know who you want to be, what you want to do, and why it's important to you, and what's getting in the way. To be more purposeful about what you do every day, to get clarity on where you should put your effort. I'm getting into strategy now.
That's okay. Okay.
To get that clarity on where to put your time, energy, and resources.
Okay. So let's hold it for now. If we were working together, I might push you a little bit more on that because there's some other interesting potential angles there on purpose, impact, outcomes. But intention's in the name of your stuff, and I'm not trying to redo your stuff. So we're going to start with intention. Now, let's assume attention is there, that it's impossible, we'll explain why in just a minute, to balance the personal and professional priorities without intention. Great. If I have clarity on all of that, will I be able to do this?
It will sure help you on that path because clarity creates confidence. Clarity creates focus. Clarity creates direction. And clarity actually helps create self-accountability.
Okay, that's different. Now, you said clarity. We'll come back to this. I just wanted to capture it because did you hear him speak? So one of the things to listen for with yourself or with others is when you start to speak in axioms and proverb-like statements. Did you hear that? He was like, it's probably one of your phrases that pays. Yeah, right? Okay, good. There's a reason why those happen is because they feel like received wisdom. I warned you there was another Greek word coming. Are you ready? I just learned this one 3 days ago. I'm so excited about it. Okay, the word is, are you ready?
Yeah.
Endoxa. What? I know. Doesn't it sound amazing? Endoxa refers to generally accepted truths or principles. Dan's like, yep, I know that. All right, awesome. Okay, and the singular is endoxon. There you go. All right, so you want to...
Will somebody bring me a bottle of water, please? Thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to capture that because he said it. Like, again, you can do this in a very rigid way, but sometimes just the worksheet is there so you can just kind of like fill things out as people spill it out. Okay, now, the one thing I would say here is that I'm going to notice that we can't put leader here because you're speaking to leaders. So I'm going to suggest that intention isn't everything.
Okay.
Okay? So remember, when we're talking about this core strategy, what we're doing is we're squishing these. Okay, so the first thing we're doing with this core component, normally you would be able to like brainstorm all of that, like here. But we're going to say for less that we've got intention here. Yeah? And then this little box at the bottom is basically so that you can always keep track of what your question is. Because we're always going to go back to that. Okay, now, because he's chosen intention, and you can't put leader in the second one, one of the ways to find this other component is to say, what does your brain say? If this is intentional what? Or this is some nature of intention. How do you help people? Just explain to me quickly. How do you help people figure out that purpose? Like, what do they base that purpose on? How do you help them arrive at it? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, what's the nature of the intention?
So there's intentional leadership. I have a 3-part framework.
Okay.
Clarify your vision.
Yep.
Focus your strategy.
Yep.
Live your promise. Within the clarify your vision part is we're looking at values, we're looking at interests, we're looking at real world situations, demands, responsibilities, opportunities, goals, and strengths and weaknesses.
Okay. And then the next section is focused on?
Focus the strategy.
Okay.
Which means what's our plan to be able to create that balance between, or I use the word harmony, create a harmonious relationship between our professional, our personal, our self-interest.
Did you hear it? Yeah. Those of you, I saw you like nodding your head, right? When you're listening to somebody else, there will be something that they pop out that goes, nobody else is talking about it like that. And you just said a harmony, right? And like, you know, Ginger was like, oh, that's a Tamsen word. She's going to like that one. And you started to nod. And I'm like, oh, that's so exciting. Okay. The last thing I want you to tell us a little bit more, just because I wanted, one of my life mantras is disconfirm what I believe to be true. Tell me about the promise piece, because that one also rang a bell in my head, where you say, what was the third one?
Live your promise.
Live your promise. Tell me about that.
My own journey through life, when I discovered that I could change the story that I was living for myself, revolved around what I now call the promise I make to myself.
Okay.
It's been enhanced over the years, particularly by the teachings of Jason Hewlett.
Yep.
The promise we make to ourselves empowers us to better live. The promises we make to family, to customers, to neighborhood, community, to God, etc.
Okay. Now, love Jason. He's amazing. And because the promise is so tied to Jason, I wouldn't want to put it here. Right? Because
yes, not at this level.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Especially because you're local to Jason.
And even so, it's not, that's not the first thing that came out, right?
Correct.
And what I would argue is that how can you live your promise if you're not living with intentional harmony, or harmonious intention?
It literally sounds good.
Doesn't it literally sound good? It's a really, now this may not be where you end up, Les, because we're doing it like 20 minutes, and like, again, I usually spend like 4.5 hours. So this is like the scratchy version of it. But what I want to do is just show you that, again, it's already in you. And there is a thing, have a drink of water, called the self-explanatory effect, where research has shown that when you are forced to explain something, like to yourself, or as if you were explaining it to a 10 or 12-year-old child, or me, like all of a sudden your brain pulls out different things than when you're just talking to yourself about it, or you're just writing to Chad GPT. So that's why, like, it's important to talk about it, because you're like, you can't help it. Your brain will pop out the stuff that's important. And for today, I heard harmony. That's not a word that people use often in terms of intention. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Right?
Agree.
And because it's a different word, and yet, does it still feel good?
Fully, because it's a very active word that I use right now.
That's right. Start with what you've got. Remember, like, this is mastermind. Don't move to AI town. And what I mean by that is, don't chase the market. Start where you are. Your beliefs, your point of view are strong enough to sustain this business. You just need to externalize them. That's what we're doing. Okay, so are you good with me? Excuse me. Are you good with me making this intentional harmony
Betcha.
or harmonious?
OUS.
Thank you. Isn't it funny how, like, you put it up and you're like, that's not right? All right, you comfortable with either one of those?
I am.
Okay. Does one of them sing to you more than another?
The first one, the intentional harmony.
Aristotle would be proud, because whatever remains the noun, here's the trick. Did you see one of them state a noun? I forced you into nouns to start with, right? And then one of them will stay a noun, and the other one will become the modifier. Do you see how that happened? So you can say, bring your intention into harmony. Once you know what those two words are, and you know which one is the more important thing to you, like for you, you're like, intentional harmony. That says to him, the harmony is actually the important part. And you can see there's an intellectual connection, intuitive connection, where you go between balance and harmony. Any Sunday in the Park with George fans? Because all of a sudden I was like, do-do-do-do-do. No, okay. All right, sorry. It's a really great musical. I'm a dork. Okay. So, but now do you see what we've got here? We've got a version of Les's claim, which is to balance personal and professional priorities. You can wordsmith it. I teach leaders how to build intentional harmony so they can balance their personal and professional priorities. Isn't that exciting? It's so cool. I love it. Okay. Do you like it? Because it doesn't matter if I like it.
I do like it. It's uncomfortable because it's new.
Yeah.
But I like where it's going, because I've never put harmony this soon into the conversations.
Okay.
It's never come this soon.
Okay. So one of the things to do is live with this. So typically what I do, and Ginger knows, is like I make you sleep on these things, right? Because like your brain does stuff to them overnight. And that's important. Okay. Now, questions about what we did so far. Did you see how that worked? See how this works? And the testing of it is important. And sometimes if it's helpful for you to go, okay, I've got one word, start to cycle in. And sometimes somebody will come back to me and they're like, I came up with these two things, and I'll put that together and I'll say it back to them, and they're like, no, that's not right. When you hear it back, it comes, especially out of somebody else's mouth, you start
Yes.
to analyze it as if it's somebody else's argument.
Yes.
And you're like, right? But you're also listening for the, like, does it tingle, all the stuff where you're like, yes, that's what I do. I teach people how to achieve an intentional harmony. And if you're like, yeah, feeling pretty good. Okay,
Yeah.
great. It's just a claim though. So some people will be like, I get it, I love it, sign me up. And other people will be like, what? So this is where we go to the next piece. So you see what we did. We said intention and harmony. By the way, a great way to do this exercise for yourself is a sorting exercise, right? So take everything that you think comes to mind when you're talking about a thing, put it on either a Miro board or like index cards, and then basically you start to group them in piles. It's a fun thing. Helps to have someone else help you. And eventually what you're trying to do is to say, does everything you talk about fall into one of those categories or the both of them together? Like everything that you're like, that in your current program, does everything ultimately tie back to intention, harmony,
Yes.
or the blend of the two?
Yes.
That's the test. You want to make sure that everything that is critically important to you falls in one of those categories to start. Does that make sense? You good? Okay. How you guys doing? You doing good? Okay. All right. All right. Now, the next part, he already gave us a version of this. And this is where we already did this earlier, so I'm just going to copy and paste it here. Oops. I know all those words. I don't need to look them up. Okay. So, and if we were doing this, like, I'd make it pretty. But, okay. Now that we have and harmony, and remember, we are still saying, how do I balance my personal and professional priorities? The next thing we're going to say is,
Could you do with less to become more?
I may not achieve, you may win the bet tonight, Lita. It's all right. I don't know.
There was a groan from the audience, so I don't think that was.
Okay. So one of the things you said before. So I want to start with one of the things that Les said, which is, again, one of the reasons why I like to have that worksheet where you can put anything down at once and see it all together briefly, because it was a way to quickly capture something that he said, which was, nope, clarity creates confidence. Okay. Now that's a true statement. Agree?
Yeah.
And it's valuable. But what we're trying to do with this statement is argue that intention, because this is true, must be part of this answer. And I don't know about you, but something breaks in the logic. Do you feel it? So if you say, because clarity creates confidence, that's why we need to include intention. Do you feel the break? Do you feel something's not landing there? Do you have a sense of where it is? Well, this question has nothing to do with confidence. There's not an immediate intuitive connection between confidence and balance. So it may be that it's a little bit before that. So what we need to say is, what is true about intention that makes it necessary for balance? And what we're looking for is what, you use the word purpose as well, so we could use that. We need to say, what is true about intention or purpose anywhere, not just here? This is important. This needs to be a concept that is true even out of this context, because it's way easier for them to go, oh, then it must be true here too. So what is true about having intention or purpose that's helpful when it comes with priorities? Like anybody can answer this, but what do you feel is the relationship? If you had to explain to someone what the relationship is between purpose and priorities, how would you explain that?
When we are intentional with our purpose, I'm going to bring clarity in there, and have clarity, we are better users of our time and energy. We're more disciplined with our time at work, so that we get home, or we get to the t-ball game, or we get home for dinner more than twice a week.
Okay, so just some thoughts. I'm not saying it doesn't always have to be 3 words, but part of what you want to do is get it to sound as much like an endoxin.
It has to be 3 for me.
It doesn't, okay, because less.
Because power of 3.
That's power of 3.
That's
right.
a whole nother.
Okay, but you start to see what I'm saying is if we're talking about priorities and we're talking about something about purpose, like what do you believe? One could argue that whatever you prioritize is revealing a deeper purpose, whether you want it to or not. that's important because if what you're trying to do is create that internal conflict where they're like, oh, shoot.
Okay, so for instance, when we get to the why part, I say, hey, so why do you do what you do? The answer is almost universal. Well, I do it for my family.
Yeah,
Okay, so how often have you been home for dinner in the last month? And they quickly realize that
Okay.
their priorities are not having that connection with their purpose.
Okay, so again, play with it because these are things that most people would agree with, based on their life. And so it's about their beliefs, right? But they're beliefs that feel true and probably are. But what we're looking for is like the core thing. Because if someone hears this, actions reveal priorities, right? Or priorities set purpose, or purpose sets priorities. Again, whichever one feels like an accurate thing to you. When you say, so would you agree if you're not focused on your purpose, on your intention, that because purpose, like your priorities, or purpose sets priorities, if you're not clear on that, the balance is impossible. Do you see this? Do you see how that works? Of the ones we came up with, I would say this one is the strongest for making that argument. Because priorities reveal purpose, right? Knowing that purpose, intention is critical if you're trying to balance personal and professional priorities.
I like this.
Do you see?
Uh-huh.
And basically now what you said is like, listen, if you're not actually focused on your purpose, this is why this is all out of whack. Now, you can get into more fun stuff about the fact that there is research that shows there's this difference in what people call their espoused values and what their values are in use.
Yes.
And there's like, this is what people wish were true, and then what is actually true. Okay, let's do the same thing quickly for harmony. This one should be actually a little fairly easy because, again, there's an intuitive connection. Most of us there's just something that feels right about harmony and balance together. All we need to do is describe it. What is it? Now, generally, if you're seeing here, there's other things. We're looking for things that are inarguable to your ideal audience. Second, a short, complete sentence. Third, we want to frame it positively. By the way, this is true for the core question as well. You're arguing for something, not against it. So for instance, I had a client, actually an NSA member, who wanted to say here, well, you can't always get what you want. But that doesn't...
That creates a negative space.
It creates a negative space. Nature abhors waste. I wanted to go, nature abhors a vacuum. And she's like, actually, nature abhors waste. I'm like, that's even better. Okay. But it doesn't tell people what to move towards. So eventually we become, it sounds almost self-referential, tautological, but we ended up with, you can only achieve what's achievable. Right? Like, if it's not possible, you can't do it. Okay. Are you comfortable for now with priorities reveal purpose?
I am.
Okay, great. Harmony. What's the relationship between harmony and balance?
Harmony creates balance.
Okay. We could say harmony creates balance. What else?
Creates balance.
I'm going to write that down. But other things. What comes to you? How would you say it? How do you? What's that?
I talked about fulfillment earlier, so maybe.
Okay, let's look at that one.
Harmony creates fulfillment.
Okay.
Harmony keeps me out of the doghouse.
Can you use harmony in this?
Yeah, you can. Because we're going to use it, we're going to basically say, because this is true, we need to focus on that. So we could have said intention, priority set intention. I just love alliteration, so I used purpose here. And then we just did a little flip in it and called it intention instead. Most people will associate those two the same way. But you could also say something like actions reveal intention, and then you would be using intention. I'll write that one down too. Okay, so harmony creates fulfillment. Does anyone disagree?
I think harmony also, I don't know the word here, but I guess it insinuates that there's other notes that are being played in your life that you have to be singing.
But harmony creates happiness.
So like that'd be,
Well, I like the alliteration of the double H's.
Yes.
there's other
Could someone argue with it?
Can I throw two
Yeah.
out that just come to me that
Yes, go.
harmony reduces guilt and/or shame.
Why?
It is, but I don't want to lose it at the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. We're brainstorming. I love how I spelled harmony. I'm just telling you. All right.
Harmony synchronizes.
Because the guilt and shame are very real factors that
Shift. Shame. Sorry.
Shift to shame.
they're very real factors. They feel guilty about how much time they spend at work. They feel guilty about how little time they spend at home. This is true for men and women professionals. And it's really easy, as Brene Brown talks about, for that guilt to translate from I'm doing something wrong or not good to I am wrong or not good.
Okay. I don't think it's load bearing. I agree it's true. But it's because you don't have oh, geez. All right. That explains. Yes, I have trained my GPT to do this with me. That explains the relationship between harmony and balance in this case. So sometimes when it's late at night and your brain is tired, it can help to do this. So this is a negative frame, but that's a light. So it's not quite there yet if harmony justifies balance. See, one of the things that's useful is that it will start to work with you on...
I use the word empower a lot. Harmony empowers.
But somebody has to understand intuitively why it empowers. So this is why I have an issue with fulfillment. Like, what about harmony provides fulfillment? What about harmony reduces guilt and shame? See, that's the test that we have to put it under. Okay, we're getting closer.
To me, harmony and balance are both musical terms, so it'd be nice if I could find a verb that reflects.
Is harmony the result of balance or the reason for it?
It's both. You know, intentional, harmonious actions create that healthier relationship between personal and professional, which then in turn creates harmony, which then in turn creates that healthier relationship, which it becomes really a very positive, healthy cycle.
Yeah.
Versus the converse, where the guilt and the shame creates a very negative cycle.
Okay, and this is sometimes just so you can see what I'm doing is, do you see how it's not deep enough yet? So I'm going to tell it, well, go one level deeper. None of these explain why this is true. That's what I'm going to tell it. And it knows me from before, so again, I've gotten to a point. Eventually, if anybody knows how to build personal GPT, please talk to me because I want to do this.
Ernie?
Yeah, Ernie, right here.
He knows all the
Our red guy.
He's still here. He's just not here.
He's AI.
He's
He's AI right now.
Danielle is here.
Okay. Let's see what it gets to. Okay, so one of the things that I like about this, I don't want to go too far. We're going to find one and we're just going to grab it and work with it. But what it will start to talk to you is to say, what are the underneath principles that explain why it's true? So there's this interdependent parts are calibrated to minimize friction. So again, it's like, what is this feels like the right aspect? Because when you choose a word like harmony, there's something about harmony that is significant for you. And what we're trying to do is tease it out. Trade-offs that reflect shared value. This one gets close, right?
Part of why I think harmony works is because balance just doesn't. Balance is this concept of equity, of equitable.
Yeah.
It's like the old teeter-totter. You can't ever get homeostasis. You can't ever get equity. You don't ever get work-life balance, but you can create a more harmony in your time, energy, and effort and resources between all the components of your life when you are more clear, more intentional, more purposeful.
Okay. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're going for a concept of integration, right? Where balance equals equity, but harmony recognizes that things can be in different places. Oops. I'm glad it reads autocorrect. Places, tones, but still work. Again, that's not beautiful, but hopefully it figures it out. Okay, so I just want to show you this. I don't want to lose you. Everyone's like, this is really exciting to watch her use ChatGPT.
I hope y'all are looking and thinking, how does this apply to you?
Yeah, because it's the same thing, right? It's saying if I'm not sure, but this is where a partner can help. And I think, I'm on what hour of like talking with people today? So there is a point at which my brain is just like, I can't. Okay, so look at that second one. It says harmony. What? It says harmony depends on treating unequal parts with proportionate balance.
There's something there.
There's something there, right? Okay, we like,
treating.
right, because that's where intention comes in. Do you see? Because it invites the other one. You say, listen, if you can't get these things working together, let's go for the process-oriented one and make it an axiom or an index, and it knows I love this word. Okay, and see what it comes with. So it's saying, let's turn the process-oriented version into a crisp axiomatic principle where we originally liked harmony depends on treating unequal parts with proportionate balance. Harmony requires balancing unequal parts proportionately. That's a good one. Harmony arises when unequal parts are held in proportion. Not as good, clunky. Treating unequal parts of proportionate balance is what makes harmony possible. I don't like that one because it's not arguing for balance. Harmony depends on holding differences in proportion. That's pretty good. Don't love it yet. Top pick as endoxin. That's the one we like too. Harmony requires balancing unequal parts proportionally. All right, can you make that snappier? And let's see what it comes up with. And if not, we'll take the wordy version and we'll use it for now. Does that work? Oh, see these? Okay, so now harmony requires proportional balance. Nice and simple. Right? Very difficult to argue with. I like that one for now. The other ones are harmony needs proportion, not parity.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful one, right? So that's one that would work really well as a problem pair, Duck Bunny. We're focused on parity. We're trying to make these two things equal, but harmony, which is actually the only thing that's possible, needs proportion, right?
Yes.
Harmony comes from balance difference. Harmony is balance difference. Harmony depends on proportion, not equality. So I like harmony requires proportional balance with a very strong second of harmony needs proportion, not parity. Let's go for harmony needs proportion, not parity, because it's closer to your thing, right?
Yep.
Good? Everyone happy? Yep. All right. I hope you don't think that was cheating, because sometimes we just need a boost and we need that.
It's resourceful.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's being an intentional leader.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, and you see what we did there is that we kept. So one of the things like my professor said is just say, the thing to bear in mind with the use of AI is that you will be held responsible for anything it produces. This is why you need to be thoughtful about taking things directly. But you see where I was like, not good enough, that's not the right answer. That's like, and was basically going go, 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 go until we got to something that felt right to Les. Okay, now the good news is, folks, thanks for sticking with me. We have gotten his court claim and court case. I will show you. Sorry, Tyler. All right, so we're going to do this. And we're going to put this up here. All right, this is not going to be, whoop. All right. This is hot. I love it. Now, if you're looking at this and going, oh my gosh, she did that so fast. This is my bizarre 10,000 hours, okay? So what I can tell you is once you know how to do some of this, it gets easier and easier. Ginger, please back me up on that. Okay.
It took me a while to just remove what I was actually trying to use for the example to understand the process. And then once I got the process down, that's Canadian process, then I could plug it in and play with it. It got a lot easier.
Okay.
I feel like if you had pieces of paper and moved them around, it would help too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I often do this if I'm doing this virtually with a client. Oftentimes I'll like bring up a Zoom whiteboard or a Miro board and actually start to like move things around with them. That can help. That can be helpful as well. That's why is the key to. Okay. So, again, thank you to Les for being willing to be this hot seat and for all of you for staying for a few extra minutes. Because here's what I want you to see is that what we have here now, and again, I expect you and I hope that A, you sleep on this. B, if something's not working for you, reach back out to me and I'm happy to like workshop it on the house, pre-price. So, and I'm also happy to like donate a power pack of 3 hours to your auction, by the way. So,
In fact, what you should do is not free prize. The only way they can do it is if they bid on yours, can they get the free prize?
I wish he would.
well, I will help Les because he was like helping me out, and I totally, as I was telling you, I totally forgot to bring any books, so I apologize. All right, so, we're redundant. Okay, you ready for this? I'm so excited for you, Les. I hope you're excited too. Okay, so your core question: how do I balance my personal and professional priorities? Answer: intentional harmony. Your core claim, the thing that you are taking a position on, is that the key to balancing personal and professional priorities lies in intentional harmony. How's that feel?
I love it.
Okay, so when someone says, hey, what do you speak about? You say, I'll teach leaders how to achieve intentional harmony so that they can truly balance their personal and professional priorities. That's fabulous. What does that mean? And you say, well, because I believe that actions reveal intention and that harmony needs proportion, not parity. That's why I believe that intentional harmony is the key to balancing personal and professional priorities.
And it feels adaptable.
It is.
To different situations.
Yes. And so could you say that, are there other questions that people come to you with?
Yeah.
Like what? Give me one.
How do I create more effective systems, processes, structures in my business, in my life, so that I can?
Okay.
And then whatever there can
And
happens
is the
to be.
answer still?
Still the same.
Did you see what I said earlier about it almost doesn't matter which question you pick? That once you answer it once, you kind of have all you need. So now, the things that are going to change a little bit are sometimes the way that you explain a principle or something may change. And you may find that based on the question, you end up flipping which one makes more sense. Because sometimes it's going to make more sense to focus on the intention and not the harmony. Okay, what is next for you all? Number 1, draft your own. Okay? 2, the way that I can do free prize and whatever is that usually once a month I do what I call a Hear What Happens Live. It's a little nod to the Bravo fans out there. Where I will select 1 or 2 or 3 worksheets that people send in to me and I will workshop it live for free. But I only do it if you're on there. And I only do it if you send in. So if you want like someone to just say, hey, I'd love you to workshop this, whatever. And also, yeah, you can hire me, but this is a lot that you all can do with each other. Because like I said, we are wired to be able to spot what's awesome about our ideas and what the issue is with somebody else's. So you really can help each other with this. So start that, get there. This is the live training. I also do 2, 3 hours total, 2 90-minute sessions where we walk through really in depth what we did today. Again, one-on-one coaching that we can do this. But ultimately, I want you to see what we covered today. That we started with this question of how is it that we can build buy-in for change? How do we do that? And you know now that the answer is to build that argument based on intuitively agreeable elements. Set that as that foundation. Make sure that whatever you're putting out there is something that your audience would intuitively agree would work. And then frame it so that it gets for maximum understanding and engagement, and then wrap it in all its beautiful stuff for maximum interest. Ultimately, when you do that, not only will you build buy-in, but as we just heard and saw with Les, thank you again, Les, oftentimes, yes, you will end up saying something they can't unhear. And that, my friends, is the key to getting that emotional, mental, and eventually financial investment to standing out. Have you heard anybody address work-life balance this way? No. And did he have to do a whole bunch of market research? No. He just had to delve into what you believe to your core. And by the way, it means that you can take any amount of talk and deliver it in the minimum amount of time. And so when you're building a talk, you build back up, and you build, it's like starting from here, you expand it back out.
Yes.
And that, my friends, is the end. So thank you so much.